Hello, my friend. I'm trying to do a short conversation here, trying to do my live stream the very first time. The good thing here is I can just speak whenever I feel like something that is in my heart and I need to get off my chest. Now, I've been in Bristol, in this city here, beautiful city. I talked with a certain client who tried to drop a tender. The struggle is the choice of options. Now, many of you here may think option A, the lump sum contract in NEC, ECC, is the safest option to use. And other options like C and D, the target contract, option E, oh no, those are too risky for us. Now the fact is, if you look at the textbook, there is some sense in that. The textbooks tend to say option A, the client tends to bear less risk, while all the risk will go to the contractor. And in option E, the cost reimbursable contract, the textbook may say that the contractor will bear less risk while the client will bear most of the risk. In some sense, it's true, but practically speaking, sometimes we need to think about it. Option A is risk-free or bears less risk for the client only if the client knows what they are doing. Let's say if the scope is not certain, like when I talk with a certain consultant outside, they said a contractor outside, they said the client keeps changing the scope in some maintenance works, in some installation of equipment or signaling works like that. And every single time when they change the location, for example, of that installation of that equipment, then a compensation event will arise. It's not just payment, it's the admin work. It's the admin work that is so cumbersome and troublesome. If every single time and there is a change in the location of a certain work, that will be a compensation event, even though that compensation event is accepted, even so, the admin works is just too much. And later on, the client terminated the contract and then move on to use another contract. So stories like that happen. Then why don't we, if we are the client drafting a tender, have some thoughts on the scope that you are doing? If you foresee changes and uncertainty, then very likely an option E may fit as well. Think about this. Option E, even though it's cost reimbursable contract, meaning whatever the contractor does, you will pay the cost and the fee on top. If that is the case, is the cost really so high or higher than an option A lump sum contract? Think about this. Option A lump sum contract, I give you a lump sum, but in the case of compensation events, then the contractor may submit quotation, and that is defined cost and fee. At the end, with the compensation events added in, the cost may be quite uncertain and so high that the final total of the prices may even be higher than if you use an option E. So it's an art here. All I'm trying to say is option A is not always risk-free for the client, from the client's perspective. If you're drafting a tender, make sure you know which option to choose. And it all depends on how certain are you in the scope. Like if you think, well, some tasks that the contractor need to carry out, but you do not exactly know where to install those things, for example, then instead of ECC contract, you may as well think of a task services contract, like using a task orders. Using the task orders, then every time you just like a call center, then call the engineer on board and then install some light bulbs, for example. Where exactly are those light bulbs? Sometimes you don't even know. So if every time you use an option A, then you change the location, change the numbers of the light bulb to be installed, then that will be a compensation event, and that may be quite something. So I hope this live stream, the very first live stream, is useful for you. Later on, when I've got some time here, I'm traveling around here for different NEC matters, I will make more long videos for all of us here. I hope this is helpful for you. See you next time.